Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and I come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, life's getting a little better, starting to cool off a little bit. That's a little bit better. We're all getting the swing of COVID. Every now and then some restaurant lets you eat outside if you don't mind the bugs, but we're starting to adjust and things are starting to turn around as we go into the fall. What an unusual time in history this is, as many of our kids are going to go online and online learning, and they're younger and younger. It just makes my heart sink when I think about it. You see, this program is brought to you by Million Kids. Million Kids is not 1 million kids. We're not a million kids. We're just simply Million Kids. And we are dedicated to keeping kids safe from predators. We are part of the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. And so we deal with human trafficking and sextortion. That's when some crazy kid sends their naked photo and the blackmail begins, or social media exploitation when it gets even crazier. So we deal with all kinds of things. I especially want to take time to give a big shout out to BMW of Riverside this weekend, because this last weekend they held a charity event where for everyone who test drove a BMW, they donated 2 million kids. And I'm going to tell you, we are smaller as organizations go, but we are national and we make a big impression. We have trained over 400,000 people eye to eye. But with this COVID thing, we can't make live presentations, and it gets more and more challenging to develop income. So thank you, BMW of Riverside, for taking the time to remember us and help us out in our time of need. I so much appreciate every one of you that went in there and test drove a car so that we could get a donation. I really appreciate each and every one of you and your support. Well, I'm going to jump right into this now because we have a guest today, and I'm just tickled pink. Can't even say that. I'm so excited. Tickled pink. Anyway, our guest today is someone that works with Million Kids. He's a contractor for our organization. He handles all of our social media. He runs his own company, and I'm going to have him tell you all about it because he handles a nonprofit in an area very similar to what we do. And it is a local nonprofit here in Southern California, in Riverside and the Inland Empire. So our guest today is Clice. And he is, I don't know what your title is. I just work with you. I don't know. Anyway, he works with Clice Media. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Thank you. And first, I would just, want to say thank you for having me here, Opal. It's a pleasure to know you and a very big pleasure to be a part of the things that you have going on and Million Kids. And my organization, Clice Media Group, we're a media nonprofit located here in Riverside, California. And our ultimate goal and mission is to really just connect, communities and businesses through media and technology. And due to what's going on in the world right now with COVID-19, this has really come to the forefront.
Yeah.
And
Who could
how
have
people
believed?
can better reach people. So
You and I have often talked about that. I know I came home on March 12th and I was fully booked at least for 3 more months. And it was like dominoes. All of a sudden, all the presentations canceled in one day as the reality of COVID-19 set in. But one of the things that you have taught me with your expertise, and you are very good at what you do, but it tells me that our lives are changing and are really the main source of communication in our life right now is social media. And yet it is so foreign in many ways. In many ways, it's a part of the intricacy, the woven fabric of our life. And yet there's so little we knew about it. And it's changing the way we live our lives and the way we communicate.
well, I think we watched movies about this over the past, 10, 20, 30, 50 years that were preparing us for the time when the internet and the world would be ruled by other means as opposed, as far as communication, other than face to face. And we were forced into this shift. Some of us were ready for it. Some of us were not.
Well, you certainly have helped me survive. I remember when this started, I called you and I go, okay, what is Zoom and what do I do with it? I'd always Skyped, and now I've twitted and tweeted or whatever you call it. I tweet and Twitter, and the other one. What's the other one that you got me doing the other night with that group, the game group? What is that called? I forgot. Anyway,
Which one? Oh, well, I'm
tweet.
not sure.
It wasn't Twitter. It wasn't
Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and.
It'll come to me. It's the one where all the gamers get together.
Oh, Twitch. Yes.
Twitch. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, we tweeted and twitched.
I forgot about that one.
Anyway, so tell me how you see that this social media thing is changing in light of the COVID-19 thing.
Sure. Well, as far as, Million Kids mission and what I've already been doing in communities and teaching, working with youth and with parents and families, it's really presented or brought to the light, what we were already doing, but it wasn't the focal point. We were still able to gather in masses and communicate face to face. And this has really changed the way that especially young people are interacting, where they're getting their information from, how they're sharing information, and who they're sharing it with. So it's definitely brought some things forward. Sorry.
One of the things that I have noticed and I see so blatantly, because we don't just have COVID-19, we have, riots and we have some terrorism stuff going on and, a lot of different things. And one of the things I realize is, for instance, like the riots, they actually stage this for social media. They prepare before they ignite something or they burn down a building or they set something on fire. And then as they're running away, they have a phone in their hand in the back that they're filming it so that you get to participate. And I've always said that terrorism causes you to, it offends your sense of sensibility, but it also kind of overcomes your denial of reality as you participate in it. And you feel as if that could be happening to you.
Yeah. It's really brought people closer to, before we had to really just rely on the news media to provide us with this information. And then, Twitter, in the last decade or so, and now people are actually live streaming. I actually watched some of the people that were looting and rioting in the city of San Bernardino. I watched them live as they were doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure law enforcement was also, because they were on the cover of the paper, a week later after they were arrested.
Uh-huh. So. Yeah, it is a way for that message to be put out there, but in a way it kind of empowers the crime because it disrupts your sense of predictability. You're offended as if it's happening to you real time. And I do believe that it changes our perspective of communication. I also think that it changes everything and having to do with the election. One of my pet peeves, people who listen to me know that I hate it when I listen to somebody speak and I hear that whole speech and I formed an opinion and then somebody comes on and tells me what I heard. And what they're saying I heard wasn't what I heard.
Right.
So it in fact that gives somebody else a chance to give input and maybe tell you a different perspective. But it's also coercive in some ways if they have ulterior motives, but they don't identify that they have ulterior motives.
Right. It's very important, especially, well, not just for young people, but for everybody to really be able to discern the validity of what the information that they're receiving.
I often say this generation will have more information than any other generation, but they'll have less truth. Because how do you validate who these people are and if they have some particular motive, which from the messages you see, many of them are slanted.
Yeah, it's very important. Like it's 100% correct. They have more information, but the thing is less truth, and that's one of the things we have to really focus on is what is valid. And I think you do a good job of that in what you do with, RCAD and Million Kids, as far as filtering through a lot of information.
And it's really not easy.
Right.
Well, Chris, hang in there with us a minute. We're coming up against that break, folks, so we'll be right back. Stay with us.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the darknet will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
AM 590, The Answer.
Well, hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and our guest today is Clice. Chris runs Clice Media, and in fairness, to be absolutely open with each and every one of you, Million Kids contracts with Clice Media for much of our social media, and he does have other clients, and he runs his own nonprofit. And one of the reasons I so appreciate Chris is that his mission with his nonprofit is focused on helping at-risk kids, as is the Million Kids mission. And he also helps me with Million Kids Missing Kids, which we'll get to later in the course of this conversation. But Chris, why don't you take some time and tell about some of the projects that you do and some of your mission and goal with Clice Media?
Certainly. So we definitely are community-based with the goal of empowering and providing guidance to local community-based organizations, whether those are nonprofits or schools or governmental agencies. Mm-hmm. And the goal is really, like I said, to focus on helping people to tell their story, but at the same time, empowering them with all the technology that we have. as
Right.
a business owner, I was able to kind of survey the landscape, and there's a gap between how people are functioning, whether it's an individual or a business, and what tools that we have out there in order to access information and to increase our own reach or message
Hmm.
amongst
When
our group of clients or peers.
when I first met you, now you're a filmmaker also, and you do a lot of videography, isn't that right? And have a studio that you work out of and like that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hmm. And what kind of videos do you make? I know with me, you've been teaching me to, I'm camera shy. I always say I do radio because I look better on radio.
Well, I work with the local city out here and several of the agencies within that city here in the Inland Empire, like the water and sewer and parks and recreation. And we just help them to create content to help their citizens, know what's going on in their city, and so that they can access information.
Mhm.
We also help with their state of the city address. I was just helping them plan their shoot dates and film dates for next couple of weeks to do their state of the city address.
Well,
And
good.
yeah,
And
oh,
when I met you, you're also doing some projects where you teach kids to make a video and make it in such a way that it's constructive for them. And I find that really, really fascinating because between TikTok and Byte and all the others that are out there like that, they know how to make a video, but they don't know how to make one constructively.
right. And definitely, yeah. So I've been an educator. I've been working with youth for almost 20 years now, and believe it or
Wow.
not, I am that old. Have another birthday coming up in 2 weeks,
Oh, wow.
and and that's it. I see all these young people out here with all these amazing gifts. I mean, they are in the age of technology where they have access at their fingertips through an app. They can jump on their phone and create content that can go all over the world. And I wanted to help to provide guidance and mentorship, not only showing them the technical skills and how to create this, but what's the messaging behind it? How do you want to be perceived? 20 years from now, this stuff's still going to be around on the internet, unlike when we were kids, where you might have made the local paper if you were lucky or unlucky, but nobody is reading that. But now, I mean, you can create something or have an image uploaded to online, and when they Google your name, that comes up. So
Mhm.
important.
Yeah, I also think that it's I'm fascinated by what you do and what we've talked about doing, using film to help kids kind of sort through who they are and their identity, especially at-risk kids and foster kids, to get
Mhm.
them to tell the story of their life as they see it at that time and help them kind of wade through who they are and what they want to be. I think that there are so many positive uses for technology, and you, of course, have kind of taken me by the hand and started to share with me, you can do this, you can do that, don't be afraid to do so many of these things. And I just that is part of the message that we are doing in the documentary that's coming out next year, for what it's worth, but is the positive uses of technology. Technology is not necessarily bad. Now, you can use it badly and you will get burned and you will pay a very big price. But I think that there's a real need for teaching others to use technology in a positive way. And that's one of the things that attracted me to what you do with your company.
Right. Well, you said it right there. And there's, anytime something new comes up, of course, we have a fear of change, as humans, period. I think that's just normal. We fear change. So the generations that are not quite familiar with or don't incorporate the use of technology, which is hard to do these days, but we're still resistant to it. They might be a little more resistant to change, where the young people have already been ahead of the curve and they're living this every day. So this isn't new for them. They grew up with, little kids right now are growing up with TikTok. They'll know that.
Scary.
Yeah. Just like you said, the really important part of that, and one of my focuses is to really the empowerment piece, and really building good values and good, morals. I can't be in your home doing that, but That's for the parents to do. But we work hand in hand with parents and families. As you mentioned, I worked for a foster agency for several years, and with a lot of at-risk youth. And there's really a big need, especially in that arena, and just for at-risk youth, period, to really master social media, master creating content, not to be afraid of it, and really understand the moral dilemmas that they might have, and how to navigate through those, because they're not teaching that stuff in school. So that's where we've stepped in and started providing resources and education for those types of things.
That's great. And I have worked with you on a couple of other companies that are nonprofits. And this is such an important area, we believe, is to help kids understand the power they have with technology, but also the power for good. I often talk about with churches, make your kids cyber missionaries, raise the money for a well in Kenya, and then live stream over to them while they're digging the well, so that you can connect and you can be part of that global statement that is healthy and that is positive. And I believe with all my heart that is up to us as parents. You really hit it on the head. As parents, we're naive. I always say parents are either technophobic or techno-impotent, okay? But kids are natural at this, and they're running along testing this stuff out, and we're running behind them going, you be careful on that thing now, because we don't get involved. But your company helps people get involved. And I think that that's really important on a corporate level, especially, is helping corporations make the most of the positive use of technology.
Yes. And they're understanding this more and more. It's taken time, but as I revisit this with prospective clients or previous clients or current clients, it's starting, they're really understanding the impact of this and the power that they yield, they have, to use. So, generally speaking, the vast majority of people, of humans, we want good things. We just might be misguided or misled. And that's the important thing. Like I said, building that firm foundation, that positive foundation in the home. And as you said, parents might be following along behind, but we really need to shift our roles, because in my experience, especially in these last few weeks working with public school students that are online schooling, they aren't as knowledgeable that we think they are. They still are children. And so they need to be led, and not, like you said, not micromanaged. They need to be led and be shown the positive ways to use these resources, and then we're good.
Yeah, we really are at a historic time when you think about it, because you're putting kids on the internet that are prepubescent, and they want to please, and they just want the man on the other end to be happy. And, and so if that man asks for a copy or a picture of their private parts, they think that's just funny. It's a joke, because they're at 6 or 7. They know how to do technology. Trust me. They know how to download app, upload app, take photos, send them out. Right. And you and I don't have a clue, but they don't know what pedophilia is. They don't know what adult sex is. And so we are putting them in the world of strip clubs, if you will, online, because we're putting them out there with really bad guys. But they do not have the adult reasoning to understand the danger they're in and why they're in that danger. Chris, I'm going to ask you to hold tight with us. We are starting to come up against the break. We have Chris Clice with Clice Media, Klise, and I hope you'll stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited: Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited: Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. I want to take a minute and thank each and every one of our listeners that have listened, that have ordered books. We've had a big book week this week of people ordering books, and I'm very, very grateful. We do have 2 books out there at millionkids.org, millionkids.org. One is called Seduce, the Grooming of America's Teenagers, and the other one is called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders. So I appreciate that. I'd also appreciate it if you could fund our work and donate to Million Kids. We are busy as all get out right now. Chris can tell you that. I'm constantly going, can you get this in? Can you get that on there? But, we have more cases right now than I think I've ever had in my life. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children said that child sexual abuse claims or calls, referrals are up 93% this year, 93%. And that is because kids are online without supervision and they're bored and they're trying all this stuff out, and it's going to get worse. So if there's ever a time I needed your financial support, it would be right now. And you can do that by going to Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. Also, please follow us on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and hit Million Kids and hit that like on there. If you want to sign up to get flyers for runaway and missing kids, you can do that by going to millionkids.org, going in to sign up for the newsletter and give us your email address. We and Chris handles this all the time for us. 1 out of 6 kids who run away will be a victim of sex trafficking in the first 48 hours. So that is the reason why I so much appreciate my partnership with him. He runs his own agency. If you're a corporation, if you're a nonprofit and you need social media expertise, I highly recommend him there because he's just absolutely the best in the business. With that, Chris, we're hearing all kinds of things, and I see from the work I do with you that you're seeing more and more censorship on the part of various app owners. Do you see that as true? I mean, that's my perception. Is that true? And what kinds of things are you seeing?
Sure. I definitely have seen some stuff. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and the likes, they've all started to censor more and more information. They have fact checkers, and if they don't fit the narrative and what their facts are, then they are blocked or censored. We recently we are currently running into some censorship problems on Facebook trying to run ads, just due to the fact that Million Kids is a nonprofit that focuses on exploitation and trafficking. And so anything that has to do with right now in social media, anything that has to do with COVID-19, elections, or anything that could persuade anyone politically, they are being closely watched and very filtered as far as their communications out.
Yeah, it's interesting to me to watch this. President Trump has been very outspoken about supporting the work of not Million Kids, excuse me. He doesn't even know we exist, I'm sure, but supporting the work of human trafficking, anti-trafficking, and so has Melania. And so because of that, the subject has become quite political in the fact that he is really addressing it and wanting to do something for it, even though Million Kids is in no way, shape, or form a political organization. We are absolutely a nonprofit. We don't take a side. I have my own personal beliefs, but I try to keep them to myself most of the time. And like that, but it is an interesting thing to watch because, this idea of censorship with the TikTok thing going on, maybe our audience doesn't realize what's happening, but the Congress couldn't come up with a big word. Sorry. Anyway, Congress is asking TikTok to sell maybe to Microsoft because all of your new apps have live streaming capability. And in TikTok, you make the video and you shoot it out there, and it's two-way communication. In other words, you shoot it out there under a category, and they can send a text back to your child. So your child may have 1 million likes on it. And all that data is being stored in the US, according to TikTok, but it's backed up in Singapore because they are a Chinese company. So you're having this discussion about where do our kids' data go? Where do they go anyway? Where does it go? That's probably a more appropriate way to say that. But by the same token, Facebook and Instagram, they're in China gathering up all those kids' information and storing it in the US. So in the meantime, what you're seeing is almost censorship wars of, the public saying you need to protect my child. And so that gives them a right to make decisions, but it's based on their own bias and their own predispositions. And I think that's a challenge. I would hate to see America get into becoming a censorship country.
Yeah, you're totally right. As usual, Opal, your research is always on point, and you have a really good, clear understanding of what's going on, the players involved, and you said it correctly. And what we're witnessing right now is a type of warfare between China and the United States, and they're putting companies in the middle of it, and those companies happen to have access and are of everyone's data, and everybody's using them. So it's very interesting. And I think the implications of this will, come to light further down the road. And I'm not sure what's really going to happen. I do think that they are going to have to sell if they still want to operate, in the United States.
And yet something will just reopen just like it. I mean, we've crossed a technology threshold where you can go out and send out a video to the masses, and the masses then can immediately respond to you. So you may sell TikTok, but Facebook is going to come out with Lasso, which is just like it, and Like is already out there, and Byte is there. The technology isn't going to change. So it's a fascinating thing because our kids are the first to put their facial image on there. And yet it is literally what we mean by living in a world without borders.
Agreed. And, as we start to wind down here, I want to just give a little suggestion to parents, as far as how to deal with this.
That's great.
I'm a parent myself. I'm just dealing with this last night with my 13-year-old, and I try to keep it as positive as possible. I've talked to her pretty openly since she was since she was young, just so she'd have a good understanding. And parents I'm an educator, so parents come to me and ask me, what can I do to keep my kids safe? And I always revert back to the same thing, and that's, it really starts at home.
Yes.
Making sure that you spend quality time with your child, make sure that you have a great bond. For now, as far as advice on what's going on with students, virtually learning and having, their phone with them 24/7, I would really highly recommend, no matter how old your kid is, because this is good life training, institute some structure. Kids need it. They need guidance. They need structure. And that might just come, start with limiting their time on devices. And we did this last night as a family. Let's put our tablets down. Let's put our phones down. Let's have dinner together. Let's go to the park together. Spend some time together. Build those good, family values verbally in front of each other. And support your kids. You shouldn't be at odds with them over this.
I think that that's so important because kids lack intimacy. And they even suggest that this generation will be a little less empathetic because they can't express so much because everything's done with their thumbs. And having that quiet time between you where you're eye to eye, I think is so terribly important to let them know you believe in them.
Absolutely, 100%. They need it. And they might not say it and they might be resistant to it, but just dig a little deeper and try a little harder, implement a little quiet time, some structure, some family time. We need it. Our kids need it.
Yes, I agree. Chris, I know you're going to have to cut out on me here. We knew that when you joined here, but we're right down to the last minute. Can you tell the folks if they're interested in going in and reaching out and finding out more about your social media or filmmaking or marketing advertising capability for corporations, nonprofits, schools, educators, churches, all kinds of people? How do they reach you?
Absolutely. I'm pretty easy to find, but my name is unique. It's my first name is with a K, so Kris, and my last name is Klise. You can Google me, but you can easily find me at Clice Media. So Klise, that's my last name, media.com, and you can find me there.
Okay. Well, Chris, thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to work with you. You really are talented, and you have tremendous insight in how to tell the message, and I so much appreciate you. Chris Clice has been our guest today. We are coming up against a break today, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Nothing beats the services offered by Strike a Pose in Covina. From weddings, anniversaries, pregnancies, family heritage photos, or professional headshots for business cards and publicity, Jamie and Steve will do your makeup, get the perfect lighting and pose, and edit them so you look your best. These folks are the best in the business. Go online to strikeapose.net and make an appointment today.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we have been having as our guest today Chris Clice, that is spelled Klise, and he operates Clice Media. Me and Kids contracts with Chris. He has a media organization that where you can outsource your social media. He handles all kinds of things for us. We have a Facebook page that he handles so that if you come in and want to make a comment or something like that, he would be involved in that. And he also handles our Instagram and posts out all those hashtags, and he tweets for me because I don't really have time to tweet. But I twitched all by myself the other night. So, somehow that just sounds a little immoral. Actually, I will share with you, my audience, if you want to know a lot more about your kids' gaming and what online gaming's all about. Many of you know that I studied that, I researched that, but I don't have time to play the games. I just don't with all the research that I do. But I want to get a feel for what the game is all about, especially new games and the bigger games like Fortnite and like that, which are massive games, the biggest in the world. You can download the app Twitch, Twitch, and then just sign up and look at the various games. It's a great way for you to understand the world of gaming. What you understand is that kids, there's a lot of good value in gaming if it's a clean game. But what you'll also see is there's a lot of vulgarity that goes on and a lot of pornography and a lot of animated video game character pornography. So if you want to really start to understand what games your kids are on, well, I highly recommend that you get yourself an avatar, especially if you're a dad. Sit down with them, get yourself a character and get a name and get a little Bitcoin account and find out who's in those chat rooms and who's saying what to who. And one of the things to look for is the live streaming. One of the things that happens in video gaming that people don't realize is that most of your big games and that are on platforms like Discord, they can live stream right into your home. That means they can see if you have a little younger brother or sister. And that is a problem on there. Or if your younger brother and sister are there playing with you. And they have a way, because you're eye to eye and you're often sharing pornography in a game, they have a way of really bonding with you because you want their approval. You're in there talking. Now, I don't believe you're going to get your kids off video games. I think that, the train has left the station on that one. Okay. But you can pick and choose healthy games. And that is an important thing. And you won't know till you play that game with them, because many game makers now are giving your kids free games. And so you won't know what is happening. Watch the amount of money your child is spending in their Bitcoin account, because that goes on your Visa. And if it's starting to load up, what you're finding is kids have obstacles in the game and they get under pressure, and they have to use your Bitcoin account in order to be able to buy their way around the obstacle. And the heat is on from that chat room from some person that you may not even know. Now, I also want to take a minute and give a big shout out to Chris, because he is the person that now makes Million Kids Missing Kids work. It was actually created with me, with Susie Carpenter Rivera, who has left our organization. But Chris has picked up on it and has expanded it greatly. And I am grateful to both those people for what they have done in this, for caring enough about other kids or caring enough about teenagers to do what it needs to do. Million Kids Missing Kids is a critical service offered by Million Kids. And we totally appreciate each and every one of you that do this. As I said earlier today on the show, literally 1 out of 6 kids who run away will be a victim of sex trafficking in the first 48 hours, meaning they will find their way into some sort of commercial sex. That's normally known as prostitution. However, what happens is those kids often disappear. And you, mom and dad, go to the police department and you fill out a form. But the police department have a lot of cases and they don't even know where to look. Many of your police departments now will refer mom and dad to Million Kids. And someone like Chris stops everything. So mom and dad go home, they fill out that form, everything they can. You have to have a police report and a police contact. We do not take the leads ourselves. This is a legal matter, and we don't want to be the person in between you and law enforcement. But what will happen is that they will make up a flyer and send it out now to literally tens of thousands of people. If you want to be one of those people, especially if you belong to a church or a faith-based organization, and you say, what can my church do? Well, be a team captain for Million Kids Missing Kids at your church, and get your church members to go to Million Kids and sign up to receive those flyers. You just go to millionkids.org, go on where it says newsletter, and give us your email address and sign up. And then whenever you get a Million Kids Missing Kids flyer, send it out to everyone on your Facebook network. It is our goal in the future to be able to get one flyer out to 100,000 people in less than 4 hours. And that is a goal that Chris and I set ourselves for creating and expanding Million Kids Missing Kids. So Chris does that. He gets one of those flyers. He stops in the late night or early morning. He creates that information that goes out there, and he shoots it out to literally tens of thousands of people, and he posts it on the Facebook, and you can watch for it and then share it on your Facebook page. That is the single biggest thing you can do that is absolutely free, that can make a difference for helping mom and dad find their missing or runaway child. As I said earlier, our calls are up 93% this year, but our income is down almost equally. I won't say that much, but it is down because we can't make presentations. So to you folks that are willing to support the Million Kids Missing Kids program or our education outreach or all the other programs, the immediate aid programs where we provide immediate aid to help assist in a transition to get somebody who needs help and get them the assistance they need. If you are one of those people that can do that and help us, please just go to millionkids.org. We actually even have a way for you to text that in, but Chris is off the line now, and I don't have that number. I don't know it by heart, quite frankly, but he basically handles it. But I just want to thank each and every one of you over the past few months. These last 5 months have been the darkest months of our entire life. We have never been in the place that we are today. Never, never, never. It has been difficult. It has been challenging. It has been financially challenging. It has been emotionally challenging. And the need for handling cases is greater than ever. So I thank each and every one of you that have come forward, that have supported this work, that have made this happen, that have sent that money in or gone online. You can mail it in. You can get the address at millionkids.org or just simply mail it to Million Kids at P.O. Box 7295. That's P.O. Box 7295, Riverside, California, 92506. I want to thank Chris for coming on. I know he couldn't stay all the time, but he is an excellent resource for social media marketing. And if you are looking for a company, especially one that understands working with at-risk kids or working to get your message out, as he was saying, he's working with several cities right now of getting that message out and telling the message. I was thinking myself, with all the restaurants and beauty places that are shut down, what if they made a 30-second video, had Chris make them a 30-second video that they could place just on their website to say, hang in there with us, we're coming back, or we're opening soon, or we have outside dining. Speaking of outside dining, don't forget my friends down there at the Toasted Barrel in Corona. They have waded their way through the COVID-19. And so if you're really in the mood for a fine, fine dinner, they are my friends. Go to toastedbarrel.com or just look them up. Toasted Barrel, they're right off of Magnolia and El Sobrante there in Corona, and they are amazing. Ed and Sherry. I call her Shirley in the ad, but it's Ed and Sherry. But if you call her Shirley, she'll know that it came from you. Folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all that you do to keep our cause going. Thank you to BMW for running that ad and running that program this weekend. We so much appreciate you. Thank you to Otis Refrigeration. I want to give you a big shout out in Yucaipa. Folks, thank you for each and everything you do for us. Stick with us. Put your arms around your kids this weekend. Tell them you love them. We'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology, coming to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hey, I want to tell you about one of my heroes, Doris Anderson. She's a realtor over at Remax Realty in Upland. Her phone number, 951-733-8899. Doris has pledged $500 from every house she closes. There's a woman who supports an important cause.